tomorrow.
Yeah, the video behind us here is out on S.E. McIntyre Boulevard, right next to Josie High School. Some schools even seeing damage from these storms. Sierra Cummings is live just down the road from Josie at Murphy Middle. So, Sierra, what's the district saying?
Well, you can't tell from the outside here, but Murphy Middle is one of the schools that saw significant damage from all the flooding and rain today. The district making the call to just close system-wide over concerns for safety for their students and staff. A river of cars.
I'm just here to pick her up.
And a stream of kids leaving. As flooding became the main concern for Richmond County schools in much of the surrounding neighborhoods.
This was the worst this morning.
The city saw its fair share of flooding, mostly downtown and near several Richmond County schools like Davis and Fine Arts, where Sharota Harris came to pick up her daughter.
While I'm not excited about not having school for a school day, I am absolutely excited that the county is thinking of what's in the best interest of the students, the teachers, and the parents.
The district tells us after excessive rainfall, they're assessing damage across campuses. We know of 2, Murphy Middle and ARC, trying to figure out what needs to be repaired and cleaned for students in face-to-face learning come Monday. There were several schools which reported leaking or water damage issues, so officials closed all schools to keep scheduling consistent across the board.
With everything else that is going on, of course, we are hyper aware of safety issues. And earlier today, it was so rough out here weather-wise that I really think that it was a great decision.
From technology to classrooms to books, the district has not confirmed how much equipment or how many schools were damaged, but a spokesperson tells us the flooding impact today was significant. But for the parents, students, and teachers leaving here,
I definitely didn't think that we would end up here, but here we are.
They're just grateful the issues are with property instead of people.
We could actually be having a different conversation, right? So I'm really excited that I'm just here to pick her up because of inclement weather.
And although the school system didn't give us that full list of all the campuses impacted, we should know once they complete a damage assessment. And even with all these school closures, the district says they will continue with meal distribution as normal tomorrow.
And they have a lot of real estate to cover as they decide what is damaged and what's okay and how to move forward. Sierra Cummings, thanks so much for the live update there from Murphy Middle School.
And just in the last 5 minutes, we want to show you we're finally getting pictures inside some of these Richmond County schools that had to be evacuated and kids sent home. This is ARC, Murphy Middle, Butler. Some of the damage you can see, lots of water on the floors, just a big mess. And as Sierra mentioned, it'll still be a while before they are able to assess all the damage and see how much it's going to cost to clean all of that up. But our viewers are our eyes and our ears when it comes to severe weather days like this. We've gotten dozens of pictures and videos from you. Want to show you a neighborhood on Fox Creek Road. This is just behind the Augusta Mall, and you can see water completely submerging yards. You can't even see some of the driveways in this neighborhood, but just a lot of flooding far-reaching across our area today. So keep sending in those pictures and videos as you see damage. But some of the most severe flash flooding we saw today was right in the heart of Augusta on Augusta University's Health Sciences campus. This is on Laney Walker Boulevard. You can see vehicles trying to go through that water, just trying to probably get to appointments. And early in the day, they were able to, but as the day went on, that was not the case. Several cars did get trapped. Eventually, firefighters had to step in to direct traffic around this area. But Celeste Springer has been covering this for us all day. She is live on 15th Street, sort of close to Enterprise Mill. So what have you been seeing out there, Celeste?
Yeah, pretty much a whole lot of water coming out of this manhole here at 15th and Ellis. As you can see, it's lining all the street all the way down. Augusta Utilities tells me this water is not good to wade through, and that honestly goes for any sort of flood water. They say this water in particular is a mixture of sewage and storm runoff. And with that being said, we talked to some people tonight dealing with their own flooding issues with their yards, and also some drivers who got stuck in pools of water. When it rains, it floods, particularly here in this neighborhood near Peach Orchard Road.
Been sick of it. Been sick of it. I mean, it's just, and there's so much bacteria in it. I don't know whether to get in touch with FEMA or what to do, because nobody's doing nothing.
Unfortunately, it's a occurrence here for Marita Hodges. She's always having to prepare for the worst.
I had a friend of mine come over and started yesterday morning about 9 o'clock, preparing, getting everything up off the floor that we could get up off the floor.
A similar scene over at AU today. Cars trying to wade through water that's simply just too deep. For one woman, this is the second time her car stalled trying to do this.
When I was in my 20s in New Jersey, it was a flood, and I saw it. Well, I was young. I saw all the cars stopped, and I thought I was Superman. I drove right through.
The second time around, she says she learned her lesson for good. And off 15th and Ellis, sewage water gushing from out of the street.
We can't locate some of these points. We've had projects that we've removed a lot of it, but it's an ongoing process, and we have an older system.
And for those tempted to walk or drive through these waters, keep this in mind.
I think that it's a little more than just water there, so they need to be careful.
The Augusta Utilities Department says that locating the source of where the sewage water and the storm water are meeting is really painstaking and difficult. It involves cameras, sometimes people being contracted out. For now, for this specific flood coming out of this manhole, they just have to let it do its thing, run its course, and drain out.
Oh, man, but good advice not to walk through it, not to drive through it. I had to learn that lesson, too, right along with that lady when I was 16. It turns out Toyota Celicas do float, Richard, so try to avoid those mistakes.
Some lessons are learned the hard way. Celeste, thanks. The flooding even seeping into some homes in Augusta today. This is actually over at River Creek Apartments in the National Hills area. You know, National Hills is like the rapids flowing right through some of those streets. But you can see here, water soaking these living room carpets, flooding parts of the yard and sidewalk outside as well. And Riley, we thought Sally would be a rainmaker, and it really, really was.
It definitely was. Take a look at this, Richard. This is a picture, drone view from the Georgia DOT in Washington County. This is Highway 24 right here, and you can see it completely washed out. And actually, Georgia DOT has been making updates through the afternoon, and this is not the only road they're dealing with that looks like this. So unfortunately, widespread flooding issues across the area, not just kind of confined to us here in the metro, felt well west and north of us as well. This is the good news, though. We are done with the severe weather and flash flooding threat from Sally. That has now moved north and east of us. You can still see Saluda County. You're technically in that flash flood watch still, but overall, just not expecting as impactful weather for the rest of your Thursday. Look at all these storm reports. This is all the flooding reports you see right here. And actually, we did have a funnel cloud report near Jackson, South Carolina, but it does look like we dodged the worst of the severe weather that stayed in Sumter and Orangeburg counties. Here's a current look at radar. We're not completely done with the rain. We're just not expecting flash flooding or tornadoes or anything like that the rest of this evening. But there are pockets of heavy rain. We just had that one hit here in North Augusta, and it was definitely coming down in buckets. We're expecting improvements, though, heading later into tonight and a nice cool down for the weekend. More on that in just a little bit.
A tow truck driver and father killed this morning while he was doing his job. Highway Patrol tells us someone hit Jason Willis while he was trying to load a vehicle after a crash near I-20 at Cobham Road. This is a picture of Willis with his family. The driver who hit him drove off, and troopers are still looking for that suspect, but we're going to hear from Willis's family in about 5 minutes.
Back to storm coverage now, and today's storms did not spare Columbia County either. This is William Few Parkway over in Evans, across from Windmill Plantation. Yard after yard after yard underwater. You can see all these homes completely inundated by the floodwater there in Columbia County. So our Brady Trappel spent the day scoping out the worst hit areas around Columbia County.
Water is slowly receding here at Reed Creek Park, but just about 6 or 7 hours ago, the water would have likely been above my knees, impacting homes nearby.
It happened just like that. As soon as it did, the water was already up to the steps.
Larry Flesher says he stayed up most of the night keeping an eye on the rain. This morning, the water rose quick.
I'd say by 9:30, it was actively looking like it was going to flood the house out.
It made it within inches of the garage and halfway up the HVAC unit, a better outcome than back in 2017.
And I did lose my entire garage. The HVAC system and everything under the house was gone. We had to replace all of that.
It's amazing how fast it came down and then also how fast it receded.
Ashley Campbell with the city of Grovetown says they shut down 5 roads this morning. Water rushing over Horizon South Parkway and a pond over its banks at Old Brasilia Road.
What you're looking at right now behind me, you can see the grass, but earlier that was not the case. It looked like a huge lake or pond.
UT Creek turned into a river. This walking bridge submerged. The water at Reed Creek Park is what pushed into the back of homes in the Forest Creek neighborhood. Larry Flesher is thankful that he only has yard cleanup to do.
We still don't know what's going to happen up north. There's always the possibility that we're going to get more downflow coming back down, so that's going to be a concern.
Homeowners in the Forest Creek neighborhood tell me that several homes usually do deal with flooding when there is a heavy rainfall, but one of those homeowners told me that they plan to talk with Columbia County officials to see what they can do to help. Reporting in Columbia County, Brady Troutnell on your side.
Well, we just got done dealing with Sally, and we're monitoring another area in the Gulf of Mexico. Update on that in our cooler weekend coming up.
So I didn't get the news. My husband just never showed back up home.
That is how a mother found out her husband was killed doing his job. We're going to hear from them as they try to deal with the shock.
Melanie was minding her own business. Driver slammed
Now, a local family is heartbroken tonight after a father of 4 is killed this morning while he was doing his job.
We told you just a few minutes ago, Jason Willis was killed while he was loading a vehicle to tow it. Nick Proto hears from his family, who say they do not want his death to be in vain.
Something was off for Victoria Willis when she woke up this morning. Her husband Jason hadn't come home from work, and she started to get worried.
I texted him and asked him what he was doing, just to see that, he responded, but he didn't respond.
She immediately knew something was wrong.
I tracked his phone to the side of the interstate where I met the coroner, and instantly when you meet a coroner, you know that someone's not walking away. So I knew it was my husband.
The coroner confirmed what Victoria feared. Her husband Jason was dead.
Me and my kids sat on the side of the road for a little while.
Highway Patrol says Jason was loading up a car when he was killed in a hit and run on I-20 just outside Thompson. Victoria says that's something she's always worried about. She works with Jason at Wayne's Towing, and she's seen too many close calls while out on the road with him.
That is scary to know that someone almost hit your husband, and then one morning you wake up to find out somebody did hit your husband, and they did not stop.
Jason leaves behind his wife Victoria and 4 children, the youngest just 3 months old. Victoria says he was a compassionate man who would have given you the shirt off his back. She says he loved his job and took pride in being a first responder, even though not everyone thinks of tow truck drivers that way.
They're helping your family or you to make sure you get to tell your kids goodnight, to feed your baby. They make sure you get home to your wife or your husband. So the least people can do is move over for them.
She has a simple plea for anyone who sees a tow truck on the side of the road.
Just please move over. Those are somebody's parents. Those are somebody's kids. And now my kids have to grow up without their father.
Nick Proto, on your side.
Our hearts just go out to that family. Such a good reminder to move over for anyone you see on the side of the road. But Georgia Highway Patrol is still searching for that suspect. So if you have any information, if you think you know anything, any small tip that can help give this family closure, please give them a call.
And a very important reminder. Back to our flood coverage.